Hi guys, this is part 3 of the Geomancy reading on how to basically make a Geomancy chart in my very rough way on how to read a Geomancy chart. And I won't go into too much detail because quite frankly Geomancy is not my go-to. I usually work with one dice for yes or no because if I wanted to know black and white pictures, then I would just keep it simple as yes or no. Usually I'm pretty flexible in that I can pretty much change situations accordingly. But yeah. So I'm going to show you how to do a geomancy um, chart. So we have the question that I'm going to ask for this demonstration is, will X get a job? No, will X get a high paying job within the next 8 months? And so I have my dice. Fire is red, yellow is air, water is blue, and green is earth. And I'm going to roll it 4 times and generate mothers. Just so you can see, because it fell outside of the camera. Even, 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 odd. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Then we have, that fell. Water is always going off the screen. Even, even, odd, odd, and one more. Even, 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 odd. There we go. So, we have made our 4 mothers. We are now going to generate our daughters. And to do that, we are going to look, I'm going to draw it out, because I know you guys this is just only the second try or second version. We're going to look at the fire line, the air line, the water line, and the earth line to generate our, actually it won't even look like that, it'll look like this, our daughters. So this will result in even, 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 that's populous. This even, odd, even, even, that's Rubius. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up here. Then here, that's your airline. Even, even, odd, even, that's Albus. And then lastly, we're going to work with our earth line, and we're going to have Via here again. So we now have our mothers, our daughters. Now we're going to make our nephews. We're going to add these 2 figures together. These 2, I'm going to kind of make it a little large so that way it's visible on the screen on the video. And we have here, we're going to add these 2. We're going to add the air line, fire line, air line, water line, earth line. So what we have is even, because we have 2 plus 2 is 4, which is even. Then 1 plus 2 is 3, which is odd. 2 plus 2 is even. 2 plus 2 is even. Ooh, I'm not liking all of this Rubius. Anyways, again, we're going to do the same thing here. Even, even, odd, even. Same here. Even, odd, even, even. And I'm going to tell you, it's very easy to get lost in doing this calculation. But I'll tell you a little hack after I finish making the chart that'll help you to know and figure out if you've done something wrong. Odd, odd, even, odd. So odd, odd, even, odd. So what we have is, we're going to add these two together to make our witnesses. So got even, odd, odd, even. Then here, odd, even, odd, even, even, odd, even, even, odd. Make sure I got that right. Odd, even, odd. Yep. Then to make our judge, we're going to add these two together. Got odd, 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 odd. Alright, so an easy way to tell if you've messed up, this figure right here should always be even, an even figure. What that means is you should have 4 dots, 4, 6, or 8 dots in the figure. You should not have anything that is 3, 5, or 7. Well, of course you wouldn't have 3. But if you have 5 or you have 7 dots here, you've done something wrong. You need to go back and count. Also, when you divide this in half, this side equals this side in the number of dots. If it does not equal inside minus the judge, then you've made a miscalculation somewhere. Alright, so now we're going to go and we're going to do a loose reading of this. Will X, so we're going to look, this is a first house, will always be, usually almost always be a first house related to the first house. Get a high paying, high paying job, so this relates to the second house as well. Second house being resources and money. And then job. Job is a 10th house question. Actually, it's a 6th or 10th house question. 6th house represents a job where you're pretty much like, it's probably near a dead-end job or a job where you're subservient to someone. And then 10th house is career. And then we have within the next 8 months. Now, there is actually a way to even quantify what that means, the 8 months portion. We're not going to go over that in this video. So, first house is tristitia. Now, tristitia means stuck or sorrow. That means that the querent is not too exactly happy with their current situation. They may feel sad or depressed. Alternatively, they just feel stuck. And that's basically the bottom line. They feel stuck in where they're at. So the first check we're going to do is see if this figure appears anywhere else in the reading. And I do, yes, it does. It appears in the 4th house. So we have, and I'm going to redraw this in a way that actually makes sense to me, so give me one moment. Alright, I'm back. So it took a minute because like Albus and Rubius's figures are very similar. So it took a minute for me to kind of figure out what's going on. Alright, so I said first that we want to look at where the um, if the first figure appears anywhere else in the chart. And it does. It appears in the fourth house. Fourth house is the house of the home or the father. Now, that can, but it's also the house of, let's say you want something to change. It means that things may stay the same. That's one interpretation for it. Astrologically speaking, this figure is actually associated with Saturn, which is also associated with the 10th house. So it actually does imply that, yeah, there is a possibility that there may be an increase, but it looks as though, well, you're going to see where the fireworks start later in the reading. I said before that we want to look at the 10th house and the 6th house. So the 6th house, we have Rubius. Now, not too good, because that implies that you or the reader or the person requesting the question may try to move too fast into a subservient role, possibly, yeah, just in a role that's not very beneficial to them in the long run. It may be at a school. Oh God, it may be at a school as a teacher. Maybe they're like wanting to kill their students, and hence the 9th house Rubius, because Rubius is also a violent figure. It's a violent and it's a rash figure. It's not a good figure at all. Fortunately for us, there is no conjunction between the 1st and the 6th or the 9th house. So that this individual kind of lucked out. There's not too much that we can really discern from this chart as it stands, but we can take a look at what's going on in the witnesses, and then we can try to look at perhaps the way of points to see exactly why there seems to be such a stagnation here. So with the judge, we have via. Now, I usually interpret via as yes, but it also means change. It means that there may even be some traveling involved. Even though I'm not inclined to think that because of the location of, we have conjunctio here, which means connections or contacts, and then we have carcer here, which means isolation and locked. So we have a figure that was once neutral, or at least has some sense of mobility, that's forced to stay still and not move. So this person may actually have had gotten pretty had gotten their stuff together. Maybe they, oh, that's not good either. It could also be that they just went to school again, and that may not have been the great move either. Sorry, I'm looking at the chart. 9th house is also schooling. So in any case, it means that they had some gusto going on, and they stopped, and that slowed them down. So here that alludes to it may take them longer than 8 months in order to get where they want to go. We can also look here. This is called the way of points. What we do is we look at the fire line, and then we look to see if this fire line connects with the other fire line. Is this fire line active? Yes. All right. Are either of these fire lines active? Yes. So we can move up here. Is the fire line active here or here? Yes, it's active here. We can also look over here. Is the fire line active here? No. So this goes here. This follows this train on the left side of the chart. So this house, the 8th house, is key to a reason for this answer. And what this does is kind of looks at, okay, here is the one of the main reasons why this outcome is the way it is. And we get to traveling. So what I usually do is I look at this in this piece right here specifically. We have someone calm having to move, and they're going to be going, once again, going gun-ho, being maybe even being a little bit on the aggressive front. But they're forced to be silenced whenever they're really not, that's not their actual nature. That also implies, quite frankly, that this person, I would recommend to them be careful. There's the inclination to travel. That's this person's natural inclination. They want to move. They want to be active. They want to they're not a stagnant type of people at all. They're people persons type of people. Now, with the first house being in Prestigio, that makes me wonder, is the person's sorrow or depression, is there sorrow or depression that is forcing them to isolate themselves? Is there something going on at home that may prevent them from moving as far and fast as they would like to? These are all factors which I'm not going to go into right now, but this is basically what a geomancy reading looks like. You're looking for layers and tensions. Because you have this really weird binary system, that means that tensions will be apparent. We have mobile figures that indicate movement, and then we have figures that indicate being static. We have figures that indicate raising up the ranks. We have figures that indicate going down ranks. And by pushing and pulling against these measurements, we can figure out what's going on in a reading. So the answer to this question, it's looking like no, but the reason why can lean towards some home issues, feeling stuck, and possible psychological problems. It could also be that perhaps they don't have to really go that far, because I will note that their second house still is an acquisitio, which is not a bad figure at all. That's a sign for riches. That's a sign for gain. So that's also something to take into consideration with this. With that being said, I'm going to pause or stop this video. This was just meant to be is just an introduction to geomancy reading. It's probably not the most perfect and not even the most clear. So, but if you have any questions as to what anything means, of course, feel free to pause video, kind of like say, what in the world is she doing here? Leave a comment, and you can also join the All Ramal group, which, if you don't know how that's pronounced, is ALRAMAL. And you're more than welcome to kind of join in the discussion. Now, I will say that we have persons from all over the world. Some don't all speak English very well. But we're doing what we can to kind of parse out meanings between nations. So if you have any questions, just ask and I'll pick at people's brains. Alright, with that being said, have a good evening. Bye. And that's just